Okay, I'm back with the final stretch on the tennis shoes. I think I left the last episode with with me putting this on the tongue on the internal inside sole. So what I did is I finished off the panel to match my other panel. Remember I said I didn't think this peel and stick was going to make it through the night? Well, it didn't. It was completely off this morning when I got up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to use the super strong glue and re-glue this on so it will actually stay on and be permanent. Okay, so now that I've got my final panel done, I'm going to line it up and I'm going to glue it on. So basically what I'm doing, I'm just going to put this a quarter of an inch under. I'm going to line it up, get my edges to match and my tongue to be about the right size as well as I can, and then I'm going to start gluing it. Okay, so I'm going to use hot glue so I can get it done quickly. And you know, just work with it until you get it exactly where you want it. Basically, I'm just gluing. The only easing in on these tennis shoes you're going to do when you're putting the panel on the base is the back. Otherwise, it's a straight shot. You don't have to trim it either. You just put it on. I got my higher temperature glue stick out to see if that will not be so stringy as these other ones are, but I'm not holding out any hope. Okay, so I'm going to turn it around and do the other side. Usually I use white glue on this, but since I'm recording this for speed, because the white glue is really more time consuming. I'm doing this for speed. Okay, so the thing is in this. Go in and dab. Okay. Alright. Glue off my fingers. Okay. And that's basically all you're going to have to do. Remember I said you can measure now and find out how big your base is. So what you want to do is just take a piece of paper and trace around the bottom of your shoe and compare this with what you're using currently for your inside base, because you want to have a pretty good coverage on the bottom, because you have to have something that will adhere to the top and the bottom. Let me show you this. See how this one is? You can almost, if I used the same base from the previous one without doing anything, I wouldn't even be able to see here's one that I wouldn't even be able to, this is my original base, the inside sole, and I wouldn't even be able to see any of my sole if I looked at it like this. So what you want to do to make your life simpler, just add about a 1/16 of an inch for the outer sole all the way around, and that should take care of any of the additional fabric that you've put and tucked under your 1/4 of an inch. So that will account for all of this bulk that you've just bulked up. So add a 1/16 of an inch all the way around, and that should be fine. So if I look at this now and put my sole, it's going to fit perfect. Whereas if I use my littler one, you're going to be able to see all of this fabric and bulk still, and you don't want that. Okay, another thing you want to do too is also take a piece of, when you have your space here, you want to take a piece of cardboard. And the reason you're doing that is you want to have something that'll help adhere the bottom sole to the top sole. And if you don't put a piece of cardboard in there, it tends to bow out like this because there's nothing for it to adhere to in here. It's like open space. So what I'm trying to do is get rid of that open space in the middle by putting a piece of cardboard in there. However you can get it to fit, just put it in there so for extra support. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Put that there. Okay. Alright, so now you're ready to attach your bottom sole. Check it out, look around, see if you like it, because this will be your last chance before you put on your bottom sole to make any adjustments. Check your, see how that looks. Okay, looks good. Right, now I took my extra 1/16 of an inch sole and I covered it with my vinyl. You can use anything you want. On this shoes I just used the same black fabric as I did with the other shoe. This one is the actual vinyl again, and then the vinyl on this one, but it's up to you, whatever you want to use. There's no, you're the shoe designer, so it's totally your choice. I just think that on these little tennis shoes, the closer they look to the actual tennis shoe, the cuter they are. Okay, I'm going to use my white glue on this. I'm not going to use the hot glue because I like it better. I'm going to spread that all around, and this dries clear. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on my bottom sole. Spread it around, get it on the edges, because you're going to cover up your edges anyway with your strip of foam or ribbon, whatever you want. Ribbon, whatever you want to use. And you're just going to center that on the bottom of your shoe, and you're going to press it together. The nice thing about this white glue too is it gives you a chance to adjust it, whereas hot glue you don't really get that chance. So use whatever you've got to get in there and press the sole down. Don't worry if you get a little over spillage, because you're never going to see it, because you're going to have to put some kind of finish on it. Alright, I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to let that it and seal up a little bit. We're going to cooperate today. Figures. Okay. Alright, so there's that. Now this one I've already glued on, and now I'm ready to attach the whatever I'm going to use for the edging. Okay, so here's just plain white of that foamies. One thing you need to do is when you're doing this, I like to do it from the inside of the shoe. So if this was my left shoe, I would go on the inside and make mine on that side. Don't pull this. You have a tendency, because this foamy stretches really good, but don't stretch it, because what's going to happen is once it dries, it's going to stretch back into place, and you're going to have a warped tennis shoe, and you don't want that. So just go all the way around and then mark it and then cut it where you need it, and then there's going to be, and glue it with the white glue. I don't use hot glue on these either. You can try the hot glue if it works for you, great, but it didn't work for me very well. Okay, so that's basically how to make your tennis shoe. Now remember I told you I was preferred using the hard plastic in the tongue. So I'm going to make the second part of this shoe, and what I did is I took my yogurt plastic, which is here, and I just cut myself out a piece in the same shape as my tongue, and after I pulled the paper off, and this one is too thin. Yeah, find one that you have that's big enough. I don't know why I cut that one so little. Yeah, okay, there we go. Here's one. And then I would just trace that out, and I've cut it into the same shape as. You can make yourself a template and round off the edges so this doesn't poke through your fabric when you're done. And then make your tongue like normal, and then just slip this up inside and give yourself a 1/4 of an inch leeway, and then once you top stitch it, you can top stitch right through the plastic, then you'll have that 1/4 of an inch that you can turn underneath your shoes, and that gives you a really nice tongue that doesn't crush like these ones crush. So I don't know where that shoe is, but see how nice that is. And I put the shoe on and off the doll a few times already, and I haven't had any trouble. So I think I'm going to stick with this until I find something better. And then, like I said, I'll put this on this shoe after I sew it, and I'll have the pair for that shoe. Okay, so that doesn't mean you can't use this shiny peel and stick. It just means you just have to glue it with more glue than what it. You can peel it off, peel the stick off, and then just add more glue on top of that, and it'll be fine to use. Okay, that's my final tennis shoe video. Well, I hope you try them, and if you find anything good that works for these tongues, let me know. I'll appreciate it too. Alright, you have a good day.